Greed. The worst trait of mankind. Climbing deep inside the festering wound of capitalism, you can feel the burning infection of man's desire for more. Nothing will sate that hunger. The Alliance Corporation, posing as a research company, making prescription drugs, cyberware, and narcotics that are deliberately addictive in nature, has spent the past century making a fortune from the poor and desperate. Little does the common person know, the drugs Alienson peddles actually inflict pain and illness. The cyberware they sell limits the body more than it frees, creating a cycle of needing more. The corporation has always been greedy, but CEO and chairwoman of the board, Alison Lear, is no more a woman than she is the embodiment of greed. So much so that her recent research has been in augmenting reality itself. Attempting to reverse engineer the very fabric of reality, to reverse engineer time so that she can extend the length of the day, thus resulting in more capital. However, this experiment has gone awry and has fractured the space between dimensions, allowing unimaginable horrors to escape and wreak havoc on the city. Your RED news feeds are abuzz with news of chaos in the streets. Rioting is a daily occurrence. Anarchy has swept the city, and those who've witnessed the chaos have gone mad. Mindless freaks with a disposition to kill, spilling blood in the name of the gods of the wired. Welcome to the finale of our Cyborg New Gods campaign. In a forgotten corner of the neon-lit cityscape lies an abandoned TV studio, a relic of a bygone era of entertainment. Once a bustling hub of creativity and innovation, it now stands as a haunting testament to the ravages of time. The exterior, adorned with decaying billboards and faded holographic signs, offers a glimpse into the faded glory of this forgotten industry. The main studio floor, once a bustling stage for cybernetic spectacles, now sits abandoned and overgrown with moss and weeds. The towering green screen backdrop, now frayed and torn, whispers echoes of the virtual worlds it once brought to life. A rusted control panel stands as a silent sentinel, its buttons and switches long forgotten, waiting for commands that will never come. This is Kitty's hideout, and it's where you've been lying low for the last few days, waiting for word from Vera Coilings and her collective, waiting for the data on Project Old Gods to be cracked wide open, to be given the final job of your careers. Kitty, what hospitality have your guests enjoyed over the last few days?
The finest in accommodations. The scale model airship is still intact and reasonably sealed. And it makes for a nice little apartment, if a little cramped. And every day, Kitty goes out a hunt. Brings back something that she chucks into one of the spare rooms. Then comes back washing blood off her fur with perfectly cooked doggy bag food.
Complete with the corporate branding. The bag's pristine, even though the chain itself has been out of business for decades. And if someone who was alive back then were to taste it, they would say it tastes exactly the same as what the restaurant used to serve.
And though power's a bit sketchy here, there's plenty of blue crystals to provide light.
Dousing the
They don't
entire...
touch the air.
They don't touch
They
the
don't touch the airship, but
They
everything else is
douse the
very-
place in a soft, almost unsettling blue glow, and Paradigm, the entire time you are here, the nanobots within your body are restless. They will not settle down, constantly squirming, constantly vibrating, constantly yearning to join their brethren that seem to infest the very air around you. Even Ghost seems to have problems maintaining a corporeal form here in the shadow of the great model airship. Reality is fractured here. The code is corrupted. Ones that should be zeros, zeros that should be ones. And all around you, hundreds, thousands of screaming voices of something unknowable, of the great hive mind that lies beyond, manifesting its will through the pale blue crystals. It was on your third day here that you accidentally discovered perhaps the most unsettling aspect of Kitty's strange existence. An old prop warehouse at the very back of the studio. It was Ghost who found it, trying to find a net uplink node that still worked, one that hadn't been completely taken over with adware and malware, and had one that wouldn't blast you with a sensory overload of meaningless garbage data the moment you jacked into it. When you slid open the door to the warehouse, what you came face to face with, Ghost, unsettled even you. All of the refugees that you'd rescued from the Virid Viper Vert testing facility all those months ago, huddled in the very center of the warehouse, an unmoving, silent mass, their limbs hanging limply on their sides, their skin pale, their clothes colourless, dirty, tattered, and each of them staring at you facelessly, their heads entirely encased within blue crystalline growths.
What the hell is going on? I thought you said you had somewhere for them, not...
Oh, them. Aye, I did. They're crew now.
Jonathan raises an eyebrow and he says, "Crew?
Aye.
You mean for the airship? They don't look like they're doing anything on deck.
No.
They don't look like they're doing anything at all."
They don't look it. But they're powering the power of friendship. They've gone deep into the reality crystals because this world, sad and sick as it was, held nothing more for them. Hell, I was You told me yourself there'd be no place they could go that Allianceson wouldn't find him and wrap him up for loose ends, so I offered him another world. And now they dream.
Their dreams have been growing increasingly disturbed of late.
Aye, that's a problem. I've been checking with him. I was checking in on him fairly regular, but I delegated that to Squelch a few days back. He seems pretty happy doing that.
At this, the tiny grey alien shuffles, seemingly without purpose, out of the crowd, his movements slow, laboured. He doesn't salute. He doesn't hum his cute little alien language. For he, too, lives in the crystals now.
Barely got him in time. His body was decaying fast.
They look peaceful, almost tranquil, silent, unmoving. They don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep. They don't need to worry where their next few creds are coming from. And yet, Kitty, only you know this. Although maybe Paradigm and Ghost having nanobots inside them have an inkling that the crew are disturbed, screaming in silent torment. For whatever manifests its will through the crystals bleeds ever closer to reality.
Here's the thing, though. This thing that's tormenting them has something to do with Alliance and the thing they're doing, so we gotta shut that down. And then I can see about getting them free. Because if things go entirely sideways, they've got a shot in there to escape to a better world.
What exactly do you
That's
want
the way
to
I
shut
see
down? They've got something going on. They've got something going on everywhere, but what do you expect us to actually do?
I don't know yet. We've got some idea what Allianceson is doing, and that it's between this and the Vert and the crystals, it's touching on something that's causing the sleepers to be restless.
At this, you hear a loud crash coming from the old entrance lobby of the TV studio. Your immediate reaction is to scramble for your weapons, thinking that finally the madness on the streets outside is spilling into your hideout, that you're about to be swarmed by crazed, bloodthirsty rioters. But then you hear a familiar voice calling from the studio floor. Hey! Geez, you made it hard to get in here. Like, how many locks do you have? 4? 5? Look, I'm sorry. I just blasted my way in, and the collective will pay for any damages.
That is alright, Vera.
You step out onto the studio floor and find Vera Coilings leaning up against the tattered old green screen. She's wearing her usual attire, her form-fitting leather bodysuit, cyber deck slung over her shoulder. But her usually pristine face is covered in dust, scuff marks, bloodstains. Ah, those streets. It's a madhouse out there, she says. Normally I don't attract attention, but whatever's going on, and I think Allianson's at the heart of it, has got this city on the edge.
It's a bit more than on the edge, at each other's throats.
at each other's throats, every man for himself, and it's a fight for survival. So, if you don't mind, I'll catch my breath. She rests for a moment, and then her hand snakes down her bodice, flicks open a small pouch, and she extracts a single thumb drive, holding it up. It glows in the pale blue light. I came to give you this. The collective says this will end it all. You have to take this to the top floor of Allianson HQ. Down there in Galbacken, in the hills. Floor number 66. You gotta sneak into the CEO's office and stick this right there in the mainframe. And it'll close the gate.
Gate.
Yeah, she says, smiling. We thought mined NFTs was cynical enough, right? Well, Mrs. Leah, she wants to break reality, cast all of humanity into an endless delusion. Stretch time out 1,000-fold and increase profits by as much. She wants dominion over reality itself and to monetize the forces that maintain this world. Look, she chuckles, smiling. I wouldn't believe an iota of this. Not a single word, but something's going on in this city. An Allianson are behind it. So whether it's a ghost story come true, or whether they're using some form of mind control to drive the entire city into a frenzy, some sort of profit-increasing experiment gone awry, the answer is in the CEO's computer. That's where the old god's protocol has been enacted. Its origin point, cut off from the net, existing in a realm all its own. And the collective have pooled our resources. A nanovirus on this chip will shut the whole thing down. You just gotta get there. And, at this, she tosses the chip into the air, and who's gonna scramble to catch it?
Oh, Kitty will go for it, obviously.
Kitty rushes forward, snatches it out of the air, and the crystalline growths under your tricorn hat vibrate with jubilation, sensing the presence of something other, yet similar, within the chip in your hand.
Now here's a question for you, Vera, of the coiling. You said this will shut the gate. What'll happen to the things that have already come through it?
She gives you a look, raises an eyebrow, but then she shrugs. I'm gonna be straight. I don't know. None of us knows. We hope, when we shut it down, whatever madness has taken over the city will stop. But if it doesn't, well, we've got a fight on our hands. Either way, we won't be able to do anything to clean up this mess. With the old guard's protocol still in action. Closing the gate is the priority. Oh, and word to the wise, you don't want to hold that thing for more than 20 minutes at a time.
It goes into a
Teamwork.
slot on the backpack.
It's not just a virus. It's loaded with nanos. Extracted from the most virulent growths in Ground Zero. The collective had to eat into a chunk of its savings to get the necessary components. A fine blue crystalline powder. Used as some sort of dream data storage medium capable of processing teraflops in a fraction of a second. I'm gonna be clear. It's beyond my understanding. Hell, it's probably beyond Ghost's comprehension. But the collective says this will work. This is the only way. Anything will work. In order to stop an incursion from another world, you have to use a tool provided by visitors from self-same world. What is it you mentioned once, Kitty? The reality crystals?
I did.
And, she says, looking at you,
Well, the way
figured
I
in no
see
better
it,
time than any. Dr.
She
Tate didn't want to divulge anything. Said it would be best to ask you. All I know is things that I didn't even comprehend, didn't even imagine happening, are happening. And you're just about the weirdest person I've ever met.
Well, the funny thing is I might not be a person at all. There's a 2 out of 4 chance of that. Kitty reaches back in the backpack, starts flipping the thumb drive up and down. See, I've thought hard about this. There's 4 possibilities. One is that this here rogue nanovirus thing from the meteor infected the soundstage and happened to kickstart me into awareness. And I'm just a sad automaton following out me last programming to the best of me ability, but with crystal granted power to thank. In which case, shutting it down shuts me down, and I go back to shilling some pretty damn good food. The other possibility, too, is that what I believe is real is real. I'm a refugee from another dimension, cast into an automaton body in some weird, twisted variety of my own home, trying to collect the reality crystals and get them back together to thwart the villain Obsidianus in that season that was never finished in here. Possibility 3 is that something very old and very powerful came out of that meteor and fractured, and the biggest part of it came to a soundstage, reeling, blind, looking for meaning, looking for some explanation, and it found the mascot of a kid's show. Read the programming and said, oh, alright, I've got that sorted then. And decided to just fucking go with it and be really glad it didn't hit some horror series instead.
So,
Possibility
says,
4. Things are weirder than we thought. So this is death for me in 2 of those scenarios, but I'm holding out for the 3rd.
Does this sink in? Finally, she lets out a long, deep breath. hissing, gritting her teeth as she looks up at the model airship floating overhead. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Of course, you don't put a stop to this, chances are we're all gonna be dead. That's all I know.
2 out of 4. But if we don't fix it, it's 0 out of 4. Why don't you hang on to this ghost? Actually, no. Yeah, no physicals. Jonathan, why don't you hang on to this? You got, like, pockets.
Jonathan, do you take the chip?
Yeah, he'll chuck it in his satchel somewhere.
Yeah, drops it
Kind
in
of
his
haphazardly,
satchel.
he's not worried.
As Vera sees you drop it into your satchel, she raises an eyebrow. She says, "Now, look, I mean it. Don't hold the thing for more than 20 minutes, or shit's gonna happen. Remember, very important." So, 66th floor of Allianson HQ, in Mrs. Allison Lear's mainframe. Whether you get out or not is, quite frankly, irrelevant. I think this is bigger than all of us at this point. But if you do make it out, the collective's already cleared your debts, and you'll be free to live your lives. A new start. She slinks down into a sitting position. She yawns. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna rest.
Hold on. Look, man, that's great for them, but my debt's already clear.
Well, you ghost, wouldn't you rather ascend into a world that isn't falling apart by the second? Kinda seems like a waste to me that you managed to break the bonds of physicality, and reality itself is crumbling around you. You want eternity to enjoy yourself, right?
I don't know, man. I don't even know if I buy this shit.
The last choice. Let's see if you make the right one this time, says Kitty, and she folds her legs and sits down as well.
What the fuck does that mean?
I'm not sure, but ain't you feeling like we've been here before? That's possibility 4, that things is weirder than they seem.
Oh, man, I don't know. Like, I know I've been the one saying this all feels wrong, but this just sounds like bullshit. This sounds made up.
Vera rolls her eyes. She looks straight at you, Ghost, and she says, "You and me both, girl. You and me both. I need to rest for a sec." She closes
Sure.
her eyes. And before
Kitty,
her head falls back, she reaches once more into her pack, pulls out a data pad, looks over at Paradigm and says, "Oh, here. Boss said this is for you." And she tosses it into the air.
As Vera picks her spot,
Yeah.
Kitty quietly waves her paw, and the blue crystals around that spot fade away. Give her a nice radius.
"For Ivan," she calls out before she slinks forward onto the floor in a dead faint.
For
Paradigm. You kneel down, pick up the data pad on the floor, look down at the glowing, cracked screen, and there's a message glimmering there, just for you. It says, "This is why I saved you, and taught you how to fight, and now you're tough enough. Debts paid. Janice."
I didn't know that was its name. Appears apparently this is my debt's been paid off. And this is what they were supposedly training me for.
Oh, no more killer drones. Well, that's good.
Hang on,
Yeah.
is it Janice is in like Roman or Janice is in like mum
Yes,
from
like-
down the road?
I mean the Roman Janice.
Okay, cool.
It sounds like that sounds like something Ghost would actually say in character as well. So
Well, it went
Yeah.
and used the @ symbol for that spot where the I or U goes, so we'll never know.
yeah, that is indeed true. So, as Paradigm slides the data pad into his pack, you take one last glance over at Vera, still lying exhausted in a dead sleep on the floor, and you silently bid your farewells to her, knowing all too well you may never see her again. You retrace her steps into the studio lobby, where the front door has been bashed open. Bright sunlight and ambient neon spilling in, illuminating the moss-covered receptionist's desk. The debris that litters the floor, the faded posters of Captain Kitty and her crew. It's time to get to work for the last time.
Even if it weren't real, 'twas still nice. There's worse things to die for. Shall we?
Allianson HQ is in Galbacken, the hills. Incidentally, only 3 or 4 blocks from where Jonathan grew up. Your old stomping ground. You grew up in the shadow of the Allianson Tower, Jonathan. That 66 floor skyscraper, that neon monument to capitalism, was a permanent fixture of your childhood and your adolescent years. How ironic that it all comes back here at the end.
I always hoped you'd go back to the hills, just maybe not like this.
Eh,
Hey,
well,
get this job done, get out alive, you'll have no debt. Maybe you'll be able to return to the hills. And finally, live that quiet life you've been dreaming of.
hey, Jonathan, you still got any of them timeshares you bought in an ad-induced frenzy? Could be our way in to
In a
the
what?
district without get. Remember when you bought all them timeshares with the adware blitz?
Oh yeah, that was
around here.
You did do that too.
yeah.
Oh my god, I spent so many nights blocking that out. Why'd you bring that back?
Because we might be able to use it to get an in. All we needed to do is reschedule one of them to someplace nearby. And Bob's your uncle. We got a legit pass for being there. In the district, anyway. Getting into Lionson is still another can of worms entirely.
Jonathan, are you too embarrassed to check?
He is, and would be scrambling to think of like whether it would be feasible to just go there, considering where they've managed to get into so far. But if it doesn't seem reasonable that they could somehow bluff or copy swapping or something their way in, he'll do it. It's just he'd really rather not.
Yeah. So he's not
Oh, he's
checking
fine,
until
fine.
the last possible moment. He just shrugs, looks over at Ghost, and says, I'm sure it won't be necessary.
Uh-huh.
Yep. You can take the boy out of the hills, but you can't take the hills out of the boy. Alright then. Just a thought.
So, stolen taxi and bike, or just stolen taxi today?
Thinking about it, the bike might not stand out too much. I mean, there's probably people rich enough there for pet projects restoring shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas that
And if
it'll be
what you're
less
saying-
obvious than the taxi.
Yeah. that, and I kind of wanted to take it for one more ride before reality collapses.
That's the spirit.
Paradigm's already in the saddle, revving the engine, and he gives you one look before the tires squeal and the motorbike screams out onto the worn down streets of Barnyard Fields beyond. The rest of you...
I'll hit the seat behind him. Just this once, I'll be riding.
Kitty
bitch. Don't tell
shotgun,
nobody.
yeah. Kitty in a leather jacket over her pirate's costume. And the very brim of a tricorn hat visible under the helmet. She waves as the motorbike screams down the street and is obscured around a corner ahead. As Ghost and Jonathan climb into the taxi, and Jonathan turns the key in the ignition. Maybe for the last time. Maybe you won't need to drive a stolen taxi once all this is said and done. You make your way through the slum, over the blood-red canals, and the city is dying. The skies over Psy are bleak. Eldritch horror reigns supreme from the towers of those once dominating company skyscrapers. New gods in a forever-ending world. Shops close, riots in the streets, blood splattered over sidewalks. Whatever is causing this to happen, its intentions are unclear. The Alliance and Corporation's attempts to communicate with the beings has so far, according to the constant news feeds that bombard you as you dodge and weave through speeding traffic, through rioting mobs, through piles of debris, raging flames on the highways. The Alliance and Corporation's attempts to communicate with the things beyond has been undisclosed. And so citizens of Psy are warned, when walking the streets, never look up. Should you face them, your mind will be lost forever. I'm going to ask you a question. As you cross over Oath Lake and descend down into Burnchurch Hex, into the normally orderly in-betweens, where the gentrification has been swept away in a flood of urban chaos, you have multiple possible ways to get to Galbacken. You could stick to the highway, the direct route, the route that the Sec Corps have so far, through struggle and sheer luck, managed to keep free of rioters and bloodshed, that'll offer you a safe and direct route into the hills. The only problem? Security checkpoints galore, more than you've ever seen before. The Sec Corps have pulled out the big guns. Helicopters sweep the skies above. There's a security checkpoint every few feet. Tanks armed with ion cannons patrol the road, and Sec Corp officers clad head to toe in military-grade body armor silently watch each passing vehicle with an eagle's eye. Or you can brave the in-betweens, the streets themselves. You can brave the chaos and see if you make it out unscathed.
me votes for chaos. What do you say?
Look, whilst everyone's losing their minds, at least they don't have tanks.
Yeah.
That's the way I
Yeah.
see it, at least. Like, if you get scratched up by just rioting commoners, then I think that's better than tactical gear.
Commoners.
Commoners.
Yeah, commoners.
Can't
Well,
take
they're
the
heading
nose
back
out of
into
the boy.
hills. They are heading back into the hills. It's all coming back to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan, you are doing so well.
He
It's
slummed it for too long. He's been given a golden ticket out, and he's gunning for it. Ghost, Paradigm, Chaos, or heavily scrutinized safety.
I'm liking my chances with chaos.
Never been a fan of scrutiny myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're outvoted, Ghost. So
I
Chaos.
said I'd never been a fan.
Not
Come
a
on,
fan
it's
of
Ghost.
scrutiny. Yeah, it's Ghost. Yeah. So Chaos it is. And so you descend into the in-betweens. Merging onto the highway off-ramp. Deciding to take your chances in the streets below. And thinking it can't be too bad. The red skies above rumble with bloodlust. And barely a second passes as you drive off the highway and into the tight in-between streets. Flanked on both sides by apartment tenements and now burning, once gentrified upmarket cafes. They are upon you. A manic roar fills your ears. As hundreds of people, businessmen and women, corpos, street vendors, gutter scum, all of them acting as a single-minded force of nature, charging straight towards you, brandishing all sorts of implements, garden tools, chairs, signs, planks of wood, rusty iron bars. What are you gonna do?
Well, initially Jonathan's going to try and drive around them. If there's space, he's going to give it a go. Just stomp on it and
Jump on it.
get past them first before they can really act.
And Paradigm.
Yeah, similar thing. You can duck and weave on the bike through them. Yeah.
Yeah. A
Rather than
wall
trying
of
to take them head on.
bodies seems to rapidly converge around you, while Jonathan and Paradigm are attempting to navigate this mass of pure, undistilled bloodlust. Kitty and Ghost, are you doing anything to assist?
This seems like it. So at one point she's going to yell to Paradigm, "Hey, ramp off of that!" And she'll try to use her grappling hook to give them a little additional boost while they're in mid-air
Yeah.
to clear a good part of the crowd.
So I would like Kitty to go ahead and make me an agility acrobatics check.
Alright. Okay. 20, and this is plus that. So that's a 17.
There's a big neon sign, half broken off the building facade, dangling over the street. Sunbucks, with a picture, with a flashing icon of a spilled cup of coffee.
Oh, they're a
Very-
competitor. She's happy to wreck that sign as she goes.
Yeah. You could very easily attach your grappling hook to it and you get ready. waving the lasso over your head. It's all down to whether Paradigm's able to follow your directions and find a way through the crowd. Ghost, are you doing anything to assist Jonathan?
Man, I think she's just watching her right now.
Yeah. Probably never seen all these people in one place. All of this flesh together. So, I'll ask Jonathan to make me a DR17 agility drive check. And I will ask Paradigm to make me a DR15 agility drive check.
That's good, because I got exactly 17 with my agility.
Nice.
I only got an 11.
An 11. Do you think this is worth a glitch?
Well, if
Probably
you don't
is.
think it is, I can grab you and... Okay.
So, yeah, so if I use 1 to drop it by 4, then that makes it a success, doesn't it? 'Cause it was
Yep.
only 15, was it?
Yeah.
So I'll use 1 to lower it by.
Yep. So you've both passed by rolling exactly on what you needed to. So it's a success. It's only barely a success. Jonathan, how concerned are you about running people down?
So, growing up in the hills, most of the media Jonathan consumed was pretty violent, unfortunately. Like, emergency surgery was a staple for everyone, but it was especially prevalent in the hills. Zombie movies were quite popular, as were vampire ones. The unwashed masses are quite a unpopular group amongst the people of the hills. And he wants to get back to the hills.
Yeah. So Jonathan grits his teeth, slams his foot down on the pedal as hard as it will go, the pushing the humble taxi to its limits. The engine roars as it turns into a missile. Thump, thump, shuddering as bodies hit it, as blood splatters on the windscreen, as tiny shards of glass rain down on the interior of the taxi. Because you rolled exactly a 17, it's only just a pass. So you do manage to get through this mob, basically by driving through them. But there's so many of them. For every commoner you hit, there's at least 3 or 4 more. They seem to be multiplying. They seem to be popping out of existence. Popping randomly into existence out of nothing. When you reach the other side, the windscreen is shattered, the windows are broken. You tried your very best to avoid taking unnecessary casualties, but there was just so many of them. And before you reach the end, they converge upon you, hurling rock, broken bottles, pieces of concrete, and you're pelted with debris that rains through the broken windscreen and windows, and it pummels you and Ghost for 6 points of damage each.
Ouch.
You may roll armor, though.
And I will.
Yeah. Paradigm, on your motorcycle, you've got a much smaller profile, so for you, having to hit people isn't as much of a concern. With Kitty calling out directions, you're able to spot gaps, tiny little places, chinks in the armor of this converging fleshy mass that you can squeeze through, the tires squealing as you turn sharply to the left, sharply to the right, and then Clink! Kitty hurls her grappling hook at the broken sunbuck sign and pulls, yanking the motorcycle off the ground into the air, and the engine screams as you fly over the vast majority of the mass that fills the street below. She reaches out, pulls the grappling hook off the sign and retracts it as the motorcycle lands with a thump in the fringes of the crowd. And you rolled you rolled just on what you needed to succeed, didn't you?
Yeah, I equaled it
Yeah,
as well.
you equaled it. And so you land in the fringes, and it takes a few seconds for you to enter yourself. You rev the engine, punch forwards over the handlebars, and the motorcycle rockets forwards as the masses converge upon you, flailing their sticks and their signs and their implements, and battering you and Kitty for 8 points of damage each, just as the tires squeal, knocking a bespectacled corpo in a lopsided, dirty suit out of the way, emerging on the other side of the mob.
Well, I've had worse from better. Armor stops 4 points. That.
And so, you scream at Paradigm. How'd you go?
Yeah, so my 2 armor rolls are reduced by 5. I only take 3.
Nice.
Alright, so, with the massive mob behind you, and you still being relatively intact, you scream on down the streets, through the urban chaos, and onwards to Galbracken. So if you had failed any of those checks, they would have pulled you out of your vehicles, and you would have immediately been thrown into combat with 6d6 rioting citizens.
Oh, good.
60.
Yeah.
I know Jonathan isn't doing well holding up to like his Hippocratic oath at the moment, but he does have 4 grenades, so that might not have been the worst thing.
Yeah. To be fair, they're not exactly acting like people. They're acting more like the zombies from Jonathan's childhood movies. Just running mindlessly at whoever they see and trying to bludgeon them to death.
I just rolled 66. That would have been 20 people.
Yeah.
How's that all?
Child's play.
Child's play. But, thankfully, with the crimson red skies overhead and unseen forces watching over you, you manage to pass through the urban chaos and reach the edge of Galbracken. Nestled amidst the towering skyscrapers and pulsating neon lights of Psy lies the upmarket, wealthy suburb of Galbracken, a pristine oasis of opulence and exclusivity. This affluent enclave stands as a stark contrast to the gritty streets beyond its borders, overflowing with violence, radiating an air of sophistication and prosperity with the gleaming neon purple pillar that is the 66th floor Allianson Tower in its very center, like a king surrounded by his loyal subjects. As you approach the suburb's gated entrance, the imposing walls embedded with cutting-edge electronic security systems serve as a reminder of the privilege that awaits within. There aren't any SecCorp officers, none that you can see. It's entirely electronic, a series of scanners that must be driven through, series of machines that meticulously check the identity of everyone passing through to ensure they have a reason to be here. You don't know how the security is enforced, but you can see a series of little metal hatches running along the side of the imposing concrete wall. And your imagination pictures these popping open and releasing torrents of drones and automatic gun turrets to reduce anyone who's not permitted to be here to gristle. What would you like to do?
Sorry, so where are the torrents of drones coming out of?
For now, they seem to be contained inside little metallic hatches running along the wall. They'll only come out if you fail the security protocol.
How many hatches are there?
So, what's your presence, Ghost?
0.
0. Go ahead and just roll it for me, and add technology, because I know you've got
Sure.
technology.
Six.
There's a metallic hatch embedded in the wall about every 2 or 3 feet. And trying to think what model of drone exactly could be housed within a space that big, you think of so many options that you're unable to actually determine what the threat, if any, would be here. But you see at least 10 or 12 little metallic hatches and know that should the security system deem you to be undesirable, those will pop open and whatever awaits within will be on the attack.
Alright.
I wouldn't suppose this checkpoint is manned.
It is not. It doesn't appear to be manned. Having SecCorp officers, complete with weapons and armor, manning the gates would be a bit of an eyesore to the exclusive citizens that live beyond the gate. And so they rely entirely on the electronic security systems to do it for them.
Well, why not? You said there's a giant concrete wall around the entire place, right?
Yep, seems to be.
How giant is giant?
I'm going to say it's about 10 to 20 feet tall. It doesn't appear to be lined with barbed wire, but with Ghost's technology and with Paradigm's presence, you would notice a series of blinking lights along the top of the fence that seem to be motion sensors.
It's alright, I have an idea. Paradigm, remember that trick you did when we were in the arcade?
I made
Could
the
you
wall
just-
disappear, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think the chances are of you doing that again? Is that like a one-time thing, or can you do that repeatedly?
Take a chunk out of the wall.
I mean, I could.
Because we can just
Just
screw
do
out,
it,
of,
but
out of line of sight, then
It seems to me that if you're doing that, you might want Ghost waiting to see if there's any alarms and shutting them down.
Mm.
You probably
Yeah,
get something that goes off the wall gets damaged.
Yeah, there's also the thing of, depending on how thick the wall is, it might take me a little while. I can only do so much at a time.
Alternatively, we could go around and look for a weak point, like we did in that safe house raid, that old missile silo raid. They gotta have some way for things to come out. Could be under the ground, might be a service corridor or something.
You willing to risk
Yeah.
the rioting hordes again? to make your way along the perimeter of the suburb?
That is a point. Either way involves risk. But the wall dissolver is quicker, but it's up to Paradigm.
How confident do you feel?
You're sure you could do it?
Hang on,
But
like,
yeah.
wait 1 second. How does the wall dissolving shit work?
As far as
Yeah.
Paradigm understands, you're deleting the object from reality. Technically, you didn't assault the wall at all, it just was simply never there.
Yeah, I just sort of focus and whatever I'm focusing on disappears.
Okay, I can't help with that.
However, try to pacify any security systems that activate in case they detect any damage to the wall.
Yeah. Can't exactly put it back once we start.
Well, why would we want to? We need a way out.
Yeah, you do.
Aye. This ain't a suicide mission. Probably ain't a suicide mission.
Yeah.
50-50 ain't a suicide mission for some of it. Never mind.
So I'm not so
Is it-
sure. I don't think Vera or the collective have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, during that little chase through the mob, Jonathan, you would have been holding the chip for at least 20 minutes. So before
Oh.
you pass it on to someone else, I'd like you to make a toughness survival check at DR12.
Sure. Oh, I didn't realize that having in my backpack would count as holding. Curious.
Anywhere near your person.
That is a 17.
17. Speaking of which, you think, you unsling your backpack, fish the chip out, feel it vibrating profusely in your hand, as if it's emanating the strongest static electricity you've ever felt. And who's gonna take it from your outstretched hand?
Yeah, I can do it if you want.
Kitty, drop it back into your pouch. Now, are you committing to the delete the wall plan?
Is there anywhere like I'm assuming that it's like, does the security all look fairly like evenly spaced out along the wall? There's nowhere where it's like, oh, there might be a blind spot or something. It's just like it's everywhere.
It looks like it's evenly spaced out. You could maybe find a blind spot if you braved the streets again and made a way around the perimeter, but logically, you would think that there wouldn't be a blind spot because this is, you know, the top part of town.
So Jonathan remembers back to being a child, where there talks of, in quotation marks, immigrants to the hills who made unscheduled visits, and a few years later they'd stopped that.
Yeah. So the security makes sure that no one who isn't wanted doesn't get in. So, if you would like to delete the wall, I would first ask Ghost to go ahead and make me a presence knowledge check to just sort of feel out the wall, get a sense for what security there is, and try to suppress it while Paradigm works.
Sure, sorry, you said presence knowledge.
Yes, because this is, you know, you're spreading yourself out over a relatively vast area, so...
That's 13 then.
13, yeah. So, the majority of the devices that you can detect traces of within the wall, and the ones that you can actively follow and jack into, appear to only function when someone drives through the gate. However, there are some systems that are designed to trigger an alarm if either the motion detectors on top of the walls detect movement, or if the motion detectors detect that a portion of the wall has come under attack. And as these are more of a secondary backup security system, the assumption is that people aren't going to be stupid enough to attack the wall or climb over it. It's fairly easy for you to suppress it, but you can only stay in the system for about 20 seconds before the ice will inevitably notice your presence. So Paradigm has a very short window of time. So Paradigm, you may go ahead and roll your power, but the DR will be at 16 because of the time crunch.
Okay. Well, while Ghost was setting up their thing, anyway, I was going to pop my last sea vortex.
Ah, lovely. That'll help.
What'll that do for you?
It's... what is it? Checks involving creativity, such as using nanos, are at -2 DR for D10 minutes.
Yeah, so
Okay,
14.
0 to 14.
But if I do that through my mouth, is that then -4, or...?
Yeah, if you
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're down to 12. Okay.
grab
Would
the
you like
last...
to bring it down to 8.
Yeah, that would bring it down to 12, normal. And then, yeah, Jonathan can glitch, bring it down to 8. So it seems like it
He
should be
does
easy
know the
to
hills.
do.
He can give advice on where to put it.
Yeah. So you reach into the pill bottle, fish out the last bright red pill, and pull up the hem of your jacket, dropping it into your navel mouth,
Okay, 10 minutes,
which
nice.
crunches the pill and smiles as it lets out a burp. So, it's DR8. Should be relatively easy.
Yeah. Cool, that's a 15.
15, nice. The nanobots in your gut whir as you hold out your hand and a chunk of the concrete wall vanishes, making a doorway just big enough for all of you to move through in single file. Before you step through, before Ghost withdraws from the system and lets the security come back online, Ghost, with your knowledge, you do notice a cache of data within the system. It appears that the security systems are connected to the administration core of this gated suburb, and this admin core contains detailed information on each of the residences and businesses within, including detailed schematics of the Allianson building. But the node's swarming with ice.
Okay, shitlords, how much do we care about a map of the Allianson building?
We care. We care a lot.
Okay, just like how do we care about me dying a lot? Because
Kitty looks up at
pretty
you.
loaded up.
I got faith in you. You're the best ghost, and I know this.
Like, I can't die, but like you're not gonna be getting me back. Like, my backup's way over there. There's no way. Yeah.
Which is why I have a feeling that it's easier than you think, says Kitty, and I will glitch to knock the DC down by 4.
Yep,
That
so
doesn't make sense. Okay.
that's going to be a knowledge
You can do this.
technology roll of DR14.
Jesus Christ, that's with 4 removed. Okay.
Yeah, it was 18.
Okay.
The hills take the security seriously.
Yeah. They're the only place that can afford it.
Okay, that's what we like to see. 24.
Oh, man.
Nice.
I got an 18 on the die.
In the back seat of the taxi, you just see Ghost wink and flash a thumbs up as she disappears, her body devolving into reams of data. And a second later, she reforms, clutching in her hand a data pad. She lays the data pad down on the upholstery, and gleaming there on its screen is the technical schematics for the Allianson building. Ghost got in and out without being detected, without even having to engage with the ice. It all happened in a fraction of a nanosecond. So, as you grab the data pad and begin to swipe through the data, you glean the following. There are 66 floors in the building, and you must reach the top floor where the CEO's office is. You know this already. However, the elevator system within the building is connected to a fairly convoluted security system. You can't simply ride from the first floor to the top. There are 4 levels of security. So you need to access 5 floors in the building, upgrade your security, and eventually make your way to the top. The lobby on the first floor is the first, obviously, and based on the schematic, it might actually be the hardest. That's where the security and the reception is. The other floors that you'll have to access on the way up are accounting, the mess hall, the living quarters, and the cold storage. On each of these floors, there will be a key card coded to the next security level you need. And once you have the highest security level, you'll be able to zoom straight up to floor 66. This is AI level intel, so you know it's trustworthy.
Fuck, alright. Yeah, this could be really useful. Okay.
Jonathan's wishing that he got a flying taxi.
Yeah. And then, you park the taxi, slam the doors shut, and follow Paradigm on foot through the gap in the wall. Beyond the wall, meticulously landscaped gardens sprawl across manicured lawns, boasting vibrant flowers, meticulously trimmed hedges, and all of it real, biological plant life. A symphony of trickling water from ornate fountains echoes through the space, creating a almost sense of tranquility amidst the chaotic city. The architecture of the upscale residences is a blend of sleek modernism and futuristic elegance. Imposing mansions with clean lines and floor-to-ceiling windows offer panoramic views of the city skyline. These buildings stand as gleaming symbols of affluence, adorned with high-tech home automation systems and rooftop gardens that serve as private retreats for their owners. The streets of Galbracken are devoid of the dilapidation that plagues the rest of the city. Gleaming electric vehicles silently glide along the pristine roads, while the occasional hovercar zooms above. Clean and unmarred sidewalks invite leisurely strolls, and strategically placed augmented reality advertisements seamlessly blend into the surroundings, promoting the latest luxury products and exclusive experiences, like weekends on the moon. There are a couple people out and about, all of them dressed in the finest, bespoke tailored leisure wear. A couple of them shoot you second glances. You stand out like a sore thumb, but on the other hand, the residents of this suburb know that if you weren't supposed to be here, you'd have been gunned down at the gate. So nobody stops to ask questions. Eventually, you arrive in the suburb's central plaza. It serves as a gathering place for the elite, where luxurious boutiques and high-end restaurants line a grand promenade leading to the Allianson headquarters. A grand monument of neon and glass and prosperity. Kitty, make me a toughness DR12 survival check, please.
Has it been 20 minutes already? Time gets away from you, it does. Let's see here. Toughness, and it's a -1, but I do have survival, so hey, d20 +1. And the dice say 8. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
8. Do you want to glitch that?
Difficulty is 12, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll glitch it. Hit it exactly.
Hit it exactly. You feel a searing pain in your back, and for a moment, you think someone's come up to you from behind and pressed a lighter to the small of your back, and then you realize it's the nanites within Vera's chip. And so you quickly sling your backpack off, and making sure to only grasp the chip at the very tip of your fingers, wrench it out and toss it in the air, and who's gonna catch it?
I suppose I'll take it next.
Paradigm steps forwards, snatches it out of the air, and drops it into his pack. And you continue on down the promenade, past the open-air cafes and the exclusive boutiques. Ahead of you are the pristine glass doors that lead into the Allianson lobby. A constant stream of people enters and exits the building. All of them dressed in extremely expensive corporate attire. The doors seem to slide open as you approach, admitting you without any fuss. After all, if you weren't meant to be here, you wouldn't be. I'm gonna bring up the map in Owlbear Rodeo of the first floor. So, as the glass doors slide open and the sounds of the city are instantly deafened by generic, possibly AI-generated corporate elevator music that seems to emanate from hundreds of unseen speakers. You step into the foyer. There's nothing here but a potted plant and a retinal scanner. Beyond the retinal scanner is a single bulletproof glass door that leads into reception beyond. A couple of corpos are ahead of you. One by one, they stop in front of the retinal scanner, bury their faces in its mechanisms, and each time there's a loud beep as the bulletproof door into reception slides open, shutting behind them. It's a plan.
Are there corpos stacking up behind us?
Sure are. You've barely been in the lobby a few seconds, but already the stream of people behind you is long enough that it's halfway down the promenade.
Kitty looks to Ghost. You know, that copy swappy trick of yours is probably going to be bread and butter for this. Just saying.
Yep. Alright, let's do it.
Go ahead, Ghost. Roll to activate it.
Somebody in the back of a line from us is going to have a bad day, but whatever.
That's 17.
17. Ghost just winks. She gestures towards the corpos directly in front of you and leads you to the retinal scanner. One by one, you submit your faces to its innards and beep, you're admitted to reception beyond. The door slides shut just as the corpos behind you stop to submit themselves. The scanner blinks a bright red light. Dun, dun. And suddenly, a metal roller shutter drops down in front of the glass door. Thunk! A message reading, "Caution, purging in progress." You hear the sounds of coughing and wheezing coming from the other side of the door as poison gas quickly floods the lobby, purging the unwanted.
Christ.
You're in reception.
Yeah.
There's a front desk directly in front of you. The only thing in the room, save a set of thick metal doors that lead to the waiting area beyond, and a glass bay window that looks out onto the office space. A sign above the front desk reads, "Please input your details and log on to be admitted to waiting area." And now you face a worthy adversary for bureaucracy.
Is there actually a person behind the reception desk, was there? Sorry.
Nope, it's completely
Yep.
unmanned. It's just a screen with a terminal, and it's waiting for you to input all of your personal data so that it can log you into the system and admit you into the building. Alternatively, if you wanted to, you could find a way through that glass window that leads into the office space. But that'll probably set off an alarm if you do it in a particularly loud way.
Oh no, we're just gonna dump some dummy data in there.
Dummy
I was
data.
going to say, who says we have to give our real names?
Yeah. So Ghost, you beckon the group towards you as you hunch over the terminal and begin typing. Suddenly, 326 separate fields appear on the screen. Name, date of birth, blood type, address of first residence between ages of 0 and 6, address of residence between the ages of 7 and 12.
Do you guys think this thing has a capture on it, or...?
Name of first pet, name of second pet, maiden name of your mother, maiden name of your grandmother, maiden name of your pet's mother.
Actually, does it have a capture on it?
Yeah, it's got a capture too.
Fuck me, okay, because that means I can't just fill it out instantly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, not too difficult to script this up. Gonna just have send in some data that fills it all out, that it's gonna stagger with randomization on how it inputs it, so it takes a human amount of time, and while that's going, we can just sit around and plan.
Yeah. Alright. Go ahead, make me a knowledge technology check. The DR will be 16, because this is Alliance and HQ.
Okay.
Do you want a glitch?
Nope,
Go lower
that's
the DR.
25.
25. You'd love to fill it in instantly, but that little thing at the very bottom, the capture that asks you to pick out buses from an array of pictures of cats and boats, that's the thing that's your Achilles heel. So you rig up a script that will fill it all out at a human level of speed, something that will avoid making the system suspicious. And then you complete the capture yourself while the script fills out the rest of the data. What's the fake name going to be? Just for shits and giggles.
Terrence Mulligan.
Terrence Mulligan. Date of birth, 11th of the 11th, 11. First residence, 123 Fake Street. Second residence, 456 Fake Street. And so on, so forth. It takes, wouldn't you know, about 20 minutes to fill in all 300 plus fields. So Paradigm, go ahead, make me a DR12 toughness survival check.
I like to think that the ghost doesn't know what a mulligan is.
Yeah,
It's purely circumstance.
Yeah, well, the script generated the name, so Ghost doesn't... She's just like, hey, that sounds cool.
Well, here's a question. Is it
Sure.
possible to hand the chip back and forth before the 20 minutes is up?
Oh, yeah, sure. But you'll have to, stop and do it, which could make, other actions difficult.
While I'm at it,
Ah,
Ghost is going to just set up an alarm that goes off every 19 minutes with a stagger, so that
Yeah.
we know it's coming.
Yep. That will maybe inconvenience you, but it will stop the survival checks at least, or at least make
That'd
them
be
easier.
nice.
But Paradigm, go ahead, make a DR12 toughness survival check for me.
Oh, well, I got exactly 12, so.
Exactly 12. Just as the terminal beeps and a big tick and cartoony thumbs up appears on the screen saying, "Data registered, please proceed." You feel the nanites in your gut squirming. Remember the chip and quickly fish it out of your bag, handing it to...
Jonathan will take it again. It's probably about his turn.
Yep.
Jonathan takes it, drops it back into his bag as Ghost sets an alarm that will go off every 19 minutes. And the trickster god that's watching decides that that's going to coincide with the most inconvenient moments possible.
I saw that coming.
Yeah.
The door to the waiting room slides open and you step through, and there's about 20 people waiting in this lobby for various meetings and appointments. There are 4 SecOp guards monitoring the area, standing in each corner of the room. Their weapons and armor appear to be stand issue. There's a large desk with a computer behind it, and a cybernetic receptionist is tapping away constantly. Her hands have been augmented to triple her words per minute typing speed. Beyond that, you can see the door that leads to the office space. And beyond the office space, the row of elevators that will take you up to floors above. Small problem. There's a single battle drone standing right in front of the doors, flexing its metallic chassis, brandishing its hand minigun, ready to blast anyone who isn't authorized to leave the waiting room.
Well, we're authorized, ain't we?
Authorized to enter the waiting room.
Hmm.
Bureaucracy, as ever, is a terrible foe.
I'll try something here, says Kitty. As she looks at the battle drone and says, shut down.
Shut down? Are you trying to use your friendship ability?
Let's see how the power of friendship is treating me today. And I did get the science skill recently.
Nice.
Stupid power of friendship. You know what? I'll re-roll that. Worse. Never mind. It doesn't happen.
Jesus.
Doesn't happen. The droid just looks right at you, and it gestures towards the reception desk, as if silently telling you to check in, then returns to its silent vigil. Over the loudspeaker, a voice echoes through the waiting room. Mr. Harrison, you are now authorized to take a seat at seat number 4, row 3. Thank you.
Who's that?
Yeah, is that meant to be one of us? Based
It
on
is
Ghost's input?
It is not, but as you look around, you see a man who's standing in front of the reception desk, wipe his arm on his brow with a sigh of relief, and then quickly make his way to the rows of seats and sit down. Mr. Mulligan, says the voice, you are now authorized to check in at reception. Please have your employee ID or visitor pass handy.
All right, Mr. Mulligan, let's go.
I don't think we have any ID, do we?
Not any that would prove that
Nope.
you're Mr. Terry Mulligan.
I think we have to do some quick thinking. I didn't think this far ahead.
But I will point out that the cybernetic receptionist looks incredibly overworked, and as people approach her to check in, most of the time, and I'll say with Paradigm's presence, you notice that she barely even looks at what they show them. They just hold it out, she nods, and then waves them away.
Alright. I
have a fake ID.
You do have a fake ID.
Okay,
You
will
gonna
that
risk
get us
it?
all through? Yeah, we could try.
Why not?
The alternative is I
That's
try to
okay.
swipe one, but my dice are kind of cold.
So, Ghost leads the group to the reception desk. The receptionist looks up, an expression of utter disinterest on her face, and in a monotone voice she says, "Mr. Mulligan,
That's me.
go ahead for me, make a presence persuade check. It'll be at DR 10 with your fake ID, lowering the DR."
Presence persuade.
Yep.
I'm gonna lower that DR further.
Down to 6.
Just
Nice.
because I want to be safe.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a 1.
Ooh.
Would you like a glitch so it's not a fumble?
Please.
Yeah, you can take one. I've still got plenty.
She looks at the fake ID you hold out, reads the name on it, Titty McBoob. And then she frowns and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Your paperwork doesn't appear to be in order, Mr. Mulligan and entourage. I can check the system for you if you like.
Oh, one of you guys playing a prank on me. Who changed up my card?
It was me.
May I know what your business is at Alienson Incorporated here today?
Routine inspection.
On behalf of," she says,
Look.
fishing for...
Kitty leans forward at this point. Look, miss. It's one of those cases where if you have to ask, you're going to have a mind wipe afterward. It's some quiet business, and she doesn't want us talking about it, alright?
What's your presence, kitty?
+3. And
Do you
I do
have-
have the persuade skill.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She bites her lip and she says, "Okay, it's above my pay grade. Alright, tell you what, I'll buzz you in, but the next available spot is 19 minutes from now. So if you'd like to take a seat," she gestures towards the chairs.
Hmm.
I suppose we can.
Motherfucker.
You could try to push her to let you in now if you want, but she looks like she's ready to get to the next person. She's not
Yeah,
too
done.
suspicious because, again, you got here, you got into this room,
Yeah.
but
Jonathan
Probably
got
don't wanna
plenty of
push it.
glitches left. He can handle the face melting chip for another check. We're good.
yep. Kitty triumphantly leads you over to the seats, and you wait for the voice through the speaker. "Mr. Mulligan and party, you are now authorized to take a seat in seats 4 to 9, row
Should
7.
look at that, everyone. We're authorized.
And at 18 minutes from now, Kitty is going to try to quietly take the chip from Jonathan without any
Yeah.
onlookers seeing.
Roll
Yes.
me an agility. Roll me an agility stealth check, please.
Fortunately, I am small, and I get the DC
You
for
do.
picking pockets is lowered by 2 for me because of my mostly useless class. Hey, thank goodness. That's 12, 13 for being small plus 2, so 15 against the DC.
15.
If the DC is 15 or less, I got it.
You tell Jonathan to stay very still. Tell him to look like he's incredibly interested in that old magazine on the table in front of him. And then you fish the chip out of his bag, drop it into your own pocket, just as beep, the doors to the office space slide open and the battle mech beckons for you to come forwards. As you walk past him, he looks you in the eye and the mechanical voice says, Naya Latatep Cthulhu Fatagan.
Excuse me.
Gravy Jones used to say the same things. Hang on a second. Yeah, Shab Nagaroth.
Please move on, says
Yep.
the droid. And you move past the office space, past rows of identical desks where rows of seemingly identical corporate drones toil away. Step up to the elevator, press the single button on the side, and whoosh, the doors open, ready to carry you to the floors above. As you step into the elevator, it lurches and immediately begins to rocket up, carrying you through a narrow metallic shaft on the side of the Allianson Tower. I would like one of you, let us say perhaps Kitty, to roll a d4 for me to see which floor you're going to end up at first.
Okay. I rolled a 2.
2. Sounds
Also,
like it's gonna be cold storage.
Also, I've got the timer going, so 19 minutes in, Jonathan's getting that chip back.
Luckily, the elevator ride doesn't take too long. It only takes about 60 seconds. It rockets you up about 13 floors and then lurches to a stop as the message blinks on the little screen beside the control panel. Security clearance 2 required. Whoosh! The elevator door pings open into a freezing cold storage facility. A straight, narrow floor of clean-cut paths dipping left to right. The freezing temperatures in this storage facility make it challenging to navigate, so as you all step out of the elevator, I would like everybody to make toughness survival checks at DR14. Except
Just
for
made it.
you, Ghost, you're incorporeal, so your DR goes to 12. Yours is slightly lower.
14.
And it was
14.
toughness,
Toughness survival.
then 18.
18. Jonathan and Paradigm.
That is 15.
15.
Is that a pass? Or is,
That's
well,
a pass.
Was the DR?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
14, so you're fine. And Paradigm,
I am an ice cube. That was a 5.
you are a 5. So, as you're buffeted by cold air, Paradigm, you're the first one out of the elevator. You take the brunt of it, and you take 6 points of damage as icicles, little glistening droplets of ice immediately form on your torso and shoulders, and your skin turns to a pale shade of blue. There's a big sign on the wall directly in front of you, and it reads, "Caution! Extreme temperature! Enviro suits only!" And you do get armor. You do get to roll armor for that. I'll represent the armor, being layers of clothing that absorb some of the cold.
Only 4 for armor.
4 for armor.
So that was,
So-
what was the total again? Sorry.
So 6 damage. So you take
Okay, it's
2.
only 2.
So, ahead of you, Rows upon rows of seemingly identical metal lockers, each one encrusted with icicles and frost. There doesn't appear to be much indication of what's in any of them, save for tiny little handwritten labels on each one. Yet apparently, according to the documents that Ghost fished up, the level 2 card key is somewhere on this floor. How would you like to go about it? Bearing in mind that unless you're wearing an enviro suit, that cold is going to get tougher and tougher to resist the longer you are here.
Hey, if I was a key card, where would I be?
You said that there's a load of compartments with handwritten labels, right?
Yep.
How many are there? Are we talking like dozens or hundreds?
Easily 200. It seems to fill the entire floor, just endless rows upon rows of these compartments.
Are there any indication as to like categories, or is it just like 1 through 200?
Good idea. Go ahead, roll a knowledge investigate check for me, Jonathan.
That is a 13.
You notice that there are little stickers wedged next to the label on each of the locker doors, and they're in different colours. They go from green to blue to orange to red. And you're familiar enough with corporate protocol that you make a pretty safe assumption that these determine the value or importance of whatever's being stored within the lockers, and obviously red would be either the highest or the lowest.
Shivering, Jonathan kind of barks out a command. Everybody split up, chuck everything red, open them all. If you find anything, shout out, let's get out of here as soon as possible. It's fucking cold.
Ghost literally splits up.
Yeah, Ghost splits up. Reams of data merging into the mist that rises from the floor. So I will ask Ghost to make a presence investigate check at DR 12. The rest of you can go at 14. And are you looking for red ones specifically?
Yep.
I got 13.
Yeah.
You are 13.
What was checking again? Sorry?
Natural 20.
Natural 20, nice.
For
14.
a total of 23.
Was it present check, was it?
Presence investigator. 14. Looking, if you're using the color code, if you're just randomly searching, it'll be 16.
I got a 15 with my was it presence for 2?
Yes, I think you all
Yeah, okay,
passed.
that's 15 then.
15. So, as you search, Ghost's alarm goes off. The alert appears on your REDs. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Time to switch chips. Time to switch chips. With a little anime girl wagging her finger in your face.
Kitty goes and hands it to Jonathan.
So, in that... Well, you rolled a nat 20, so I'll say that you have time to exchange... track Jonathan down and exchange the chip and still be able to locate a locker with a red tag and crank it open. Alright, we'll save the nat 20 for last. So, Ghost, you simultaneously reform in front of 4 different lockers, each of them with a red sticker on the front. And in unison, 4 separate ghosts peer in each other's directions, wink, reach over and pull the compartments open. Ghost, go ahead and roll a d10 for me.
Sure. I just want you to know, by the way, that I have a little drinking game going on every time Ghost winks.
Yeah, I figured you were doing something.
D10, yeah, that's a 4.
Yep, d10, 4. Ooh! It's not the security key card. Instead, it's a box. A metallic box with an Alienson security logo stamped onto the lid. And when you pop it open, there are 8 grenades inside.
Okay.
The other 3 lockers are sadly empty. 8 grenades, though. That's a good find. Jonathan, as you crank your locker open, roll me a d10.
Let me see. Four
4.
as well. Wow, okay, 4 as well.
You pull open the locker,
Right.
and inside... Well, at first you think it's empty, because what's contained inside is a tiny little plastic white pill bottle. There's no label on it, and when you unscrew the lid, there are 6 bright red pills inside. You can make a knowledge medicine check to try to identify them if you like.
And he will. So that's 11 plus knowledge medicine.
Knowledge medicine, yep.
16 total.
16 total. These are stim pills. A highly experimental weight loss formula that Alienson has yet to put on the market. Each of these pills heals 1d4 damage with no side effects.
No side effects, my ass.
None that Jonathan cares about, at least.
How many in the bottle?
There are 6 in the bottle.
Some of us
Awesome,
could use
sweet.
those.
Yeah. Paradigm. Time for
Hey.
you to crack open your locker. Go ahead, roll me a d10.
One d10. It is also a 4.
What the fuck, man?
Pause. Alright. You grab the handle and slide the locker open, and inside you find a freeze-dried plastic bag of a space-age food substance labelled Soylent Blue.
Hmm.
It
What is Corporate's
advertises...
putting in these red drawers?
Well, it advertises that a single bite will keep you fed for a week. But it also contains ground up homeless people, so you have to contend with that. And finally, Kitty, go ahead, roll me a d10.
Let me see if I can keep the streak going here.
Yeah.
8.
Oh,
Sorry, lads.
8. No
miss.
4. As
almost
you
summon the devil.
As you grab your locker and pull it open, a cloud of bright blue spores puffs out like a gust of wind expelled directly into your face. Go ahead and make me a DR14 toughness survival check.
I want desperately to know what the roll table on this was.
I'll post it
No,
up later.
6.
6. Oof. You cough and splutter as the blue spores paint your face bright, pale aqua, making you stand out as you're now glowing a fluorescent blue to anyone who looks at you. And whatever experimental Alienson bioweapon is contained within these spores deals
Oh god.
9 points of damage to you.
Okay. Do I get
Shouldn't have
armor
rolled
on
a
that?
20.
You do get an armor roll. This will say
Alright.
only the parts that touch your skin deal damage.
Alright. Ouchie. But no keycard.
But you are lucky
Yeah.
because the spores seem to have been expelled from the withered, curled up, almost skeletal corpse of an unfortunate Allianson scientist who's clutching the level 2 keycard in his hand.
Found it!
Just remember the D20, did you, buddy?
I would also like you, Kitty, to go ahead and roll for me a d20.
8 again.
8. As the nanospores soak into your skin, the crystals under your tricorn welcome them. You are now infected with bloodthirst. You have to eat raw meat every 2 to 3 hours to survive.
Oh.
On a botch, on a defense roll, it kicks in. You can't control it anymore and must feed. For D3 rounds, you can do nothing but attempt to bite or claw your way into the nearest person's main artery.
This is an oddly familiar mechanic.
You know, it could be worse. Ugh.
But you've got the key card. Found it, you call. Buried treasure. And the rest of you assemble at the elevator door, scrambling in just before the cold truly settles in and begins to begins to freeze your blood solid. You swipe.
So I don't suppose anyone... Sorry, swipe the...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't suppose anyone would be able to be having some magic pills that could, like, fix up me current corroded guts, do they?
Are you having that?
Jonathan has some concerns about just handing over random pills he found, but Kitty's asking, so kind of pops the top and shakes one out into a very little hand.
Why don't I take 2 and I'll call you in the morning, if that's okay?
Look, I just found these. I'm not responsible for what they do.
Does anyone want some grenades, by the way?
Yeah,
Like, what is
8
it,
grenades.
Oh. Yeah, grenades could come in handy.
Well, there's 4 of you, so you could get 2 each if you split them up evenly.
I do have
Jonathan's already
space
up
for
for.
that.
He's good.
As Kitty slides the pills down her gullet, the pain that seems to be searing the surface of her skin fades. And next time she weighs herself, she'll have dropped 0.02 of a kilogram.
Oh my god, she's even more small.
Kitty brushes the icicles off the level 2 card and swipes it. The elevator lurches as the doors slam shut and it begins to rocket you up to your next destination. Jonathan, go ahead, roll a d4 for me. Let's see where we're ending up next.
Alright. I have one right here. That is a 2.
That is a 2. Accounting! The elevator stops at floor number 29. Ba-bam. Security clearance level 3 required, says the readout, as the doors slide open, admitting you to the accounting floor, revealing hideous amounts of worker drones tapping away mindlessly on keyboards. The entire floor is a maze of cubicles. The walls are all grey with white fluorescent lighting. Everyone wears a white shirt and looks super tired. There are no windows. That keycard's somewhere here.
Do the cubicle walls, do they go right up to the ceiling?
They do not. They seem to be just short enough to prevent the drones from feeling like they have privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well walk in like we own the place and start looking around.
Yeah. Anything you're going to look for in particular?
I suppose they've got a similar colour scheme going on in this room.
Look like it. In fact, it doesn't look like there's any colour at all in this room.
Yeah, that's depressing.
You're just going to wander the maze of cubicles, pretty much aimlessly. Keep an eye out. If you see someone with a card, try to snatch it.
Well,
Well, you
it
said that
strikes
everyone looks pretty tired, right?
Yeah, they're overworked.
Well, in that case, Jonathan at least is going to be keeping an eye out for somebody who might be unaware enough that swiping the key card off their lanyard or something wouldn't be as noticed as somebody else.
Entirely fair. Alright, in that case, I will ask all of you to go ahead and make a presence investigate check for me.
That's only a 10 from me.
10 for
best
me.
Best I can give you is a 13.
13 and Paradigm.
That's a 12 from me.
So,
Although I was going to say something.
yeah, go Kitty.
Kitty will go looking for a private office or somewhere where an important person is probably gonna be.
Yeah.
Or a cubicle that's nicer than any of the others.
Yeah, good idea. So, as you're walking around the office, you seem to go entirely unnoticed. None of the worker drones even so much as look up from their keyboards to register your presence. And who's currently holding the chip?
Jonathan, I believe.
Jonathan.
Sure is.
So, Jonathan, you hear, as you wander through the maze of cubicles, you hear someone muttering from nearby. Duplicate the security card, he said. Duplicate the security card, and he... Duplicate the security card, and I've got 1,000 reports to do at the same time. You follow the voice, and find yourself staring into a cubicle where a single, extremely tired-looking cubicle drone hunches over his keyboard, furiously tapping away, while what is very obviously recognizable as the level 3 security keycard sits on his desk next to him, within arm's reach. We'll see what Kitty finds once Jonathan says what he's going to do here.
Who has the alarm? Is that set on ghosts somehow?
Yeah, Ghosts just set it so that it'll, when it's time, the RED will light up and that little anime girl will waggle her finger and tell you it's time to pass on the chip.
Alright, so it won't be bleeping out loud and waking up.
No,
not distracting this
idiot.
guy. Okay,
It will not.
For now.
yeah, he's just gonna kind of
Sure.
slowly sneak up behind the guy and try and slide it off the desk
Yeah.
without him noticing. He's busy,
What?
so
What's your agility?
for active,
Yeah.
like assertive actions, it is +6. But
Ooh,
for defensive actions, it's +4.
yeah. Alright, so you won't have to roll for this. You can just sneak up behind him, lift the card off the desk, and be gone. But
Oh wait, no, I got that backwards. Sorry, it's +4 for active and +6 for defensive.
still high enough that you won't have to roll. But as you're about to lower your profile and creep into the cubicle, the anime girl appears on your RED, winking, wagging her finger. Time to pass it on! Time to pass it on!
Oh my god.
I'm gonna have words with Ghost after this.
So, how bad do you want this card?
Not that bad.
Yeah, so you're gonna just abort, head back,
Yep, abort.
find someone, head back to the others.
Yep,
Yep.
abort. He's not playing around with whatever the hell this is.
So, you eventually find Kitty, and Kitty is heading towards what seems to be the only cubicle on the entire floor, where the cubicle walls actually reach the roof. Some sort of manager's office. And Kitty, as you approach the office, you hear rapid footsteps behind you, whirl around, just in time to see Jonathan wordlessly pressing Vera Coiling's chip against your chest.
All right. Doop. It gets tucked away.
The
All
door
right.
to the manager's office slides open, and out steps the floor manager, an impossibly thin man in a grey suit, bald, with bulging eyes and a vein on his forehead that seems to be in a permanent state of engorgement from the constant stress. He sees you standing outside his office. Jonathan in his doctor's gear, and Kitty wearing her pirate's garb with her face glowing bright blue. But that doesn't seem to bother him. He simply frowns and he says, "Get back to work or you're fired! Go on! 30 seconds! 1, 2, 3...
Kitty glances over to his the nameplate on his door, because he's got to have some kind of personalized nameplate. He's that kind of guy.
You look over at the nameplate, and it simply reads number 134 AB.
Hi, we're here for the 3 o'clock meeting about the new Glow Booty line.
Go ahead, make me a presence persuade check, please.
All right. Not a problem. Just gotta find the right channel. You did get the memo, right? I'm going to pay a glitch to make that not be a natural one. My last glitch is gone.
He shakes his head and he says, No, my schedule is meticulously detailed down to the second, and I haven't got any meetings until 3:14, exactly 37 seconds past the minute, and...
My mistake. I'll see myself out.
You see the card hanging from a lanyard, dangling from his waist pocket, and he says, Now, if you get back to work, maybe we'll discuss a raise. Maybe you'd like to make 2 creds an hour.
Sounds like a plan. And all from a handshake.
He sees you holding out your hand, and he's taken aback at first. And then he rubs his own hand against his suit, and he says, what the hey, good to see a happy-faced employee, and he grabs your hand.
Door's always open, and the other hand goes low and tries to snaffle the guard.
Go ahead, make me an agility stealth check.
Alright. I suffer a penalty to that because I'm glowing, right?
Yep. So just cancels out your small. Just cancels out your small.
Right. Well, that's good, because I actually get a +2 to this, so... From a class ability. That's a 16. Factoring
16.
in everything.
So you shake his hand, your other hand lifts the lanyard out of his pocket. He gives you a genuine smile and he says, you know, we work here so long, typing away. Schedules, quotas, deadlines. You forget how to smile. Tell you what, take the rest of the day off, pal, on me. He slaps you on the shoulder, and then he turns. Then ventures back into his office and pulls the door shut behind him.
Let's get out of here, shall we? Says Kitty, spinning the card where Jonathan can see it.
You meet up with the others. So, Paradigm and Ghost. Those of you who did not find the card, you just spend the next 20 or so minutes just wandering aimlessly through the maze of cubicles, past the drones as they type lazily on their keyboards, toiling away, endless monotony forever. It's unsettling, And somehow, it's comforting. I would like you both to make DR12 presence survival checks to snap out of the monotonous routines you're about to fall into.
So 15 plus 2, so 17.
Yep. Paradigm?
Oh, that's a 7.
7. 7.
Uh,
Do you want to glitch till we re-roll it?
the last one, I don't know if I want to use it on this. No, I'm gonna hold on to it.
You're gonna hold onto it. So, Ghost, obviously this is your idea of hell. And yet, as you see Jonathan and Kitty waiting at the elevator, and you begin to make your way towards them, you catch sight of Paradigm, down a row of cubicles to your left. He sees you, but he doesn't seem to recognize you. His eyes are glazed over, and as you hold out a hand to call to him, you see a worker drone emerge from the nearby cubicle, place a hand on Paradigm's shoulder, whisper, "Come on, let's get back to work," and lead Paradigm into one of the cubicles, where he will spend the next D12 days working, unless somebody gets him out of this.
Okay,
Needless to say, somebody will.
by the way, how is everyone perceiving Ghost during all this?
No one seems to notice Ghost at all. The worker drones are completely lost in the monotony. They barely even notice that she's there.
Alright, maybe somebody else can just, pose as management then.
You get back to Kitty and
Oh.
Jonathan, and you point over the office floor, where you can now see Paradigm slumped over one of the computer terminals, typing away, working on a quarterly profit report.
Give me a second here. And Kitty hands Jonathan back the doohickey, the chip, then walks over, flashes the card before him. "Come with me. Mr. So-and-so would like to talk about your TPS reports."
You've got the card, so I will lower the DR to 10 on a presence persuade.
Alright. We'll see if he's lost forever. Hey! 18.
18, nice. So, as you make your way down the row and approach Paradigm and step into his cubicle, you see the worker drones around you look up. 18 of them rise from their terminals, and wordlessly, silently, they converge around you, forming a circle, their stapler guns at the ready. In unison, they open their mouths and say, "Get back to work." You hold up the card, and instantly they lower their arms. "Come on," you say, forcefully hoisting Paradigm out of the seat and gesturing for the worker drones to let you through. They
Using
nod.
the card to kind of like turn undead here, like a holy
Yeah.
symbol to a vampire.
As they see the card, they seem to recoil, scattering back into their cubicles, and within seconds they're back into it, typing, once again trapped in their endless, monotonous corporate routine.
Close one, mate.
It's at this point
Yeah.
that you notice that the backs of Paradigm's hands are absolutely shredded as it appears the worker drones attempted to staple him to the desk to keep him at his workstation, and he's taken 4 points of damage.
You might want some of those little pills, mate.
Yeah, Jonathan pops the bottle again and just kind of groans. He did not go to medical school to become like a prescription dispenser.
Yeah, a pill dispenser. You drop one into Paradigm's mincemeat-looking hands. And Paradigm, as you step into the elevator with everyone else and as Kitty swipes the card, I'd like you to go ahead and make me another presence survival check to see if that horrendous corporate experience has any lasting effects.
Oh, God. Presence survival, you said?
Yep, DR12.
Oh, well, it's a 19 this time.
19. Back in the company of your friends, colour returns to your skin. And you're perked up again, energized once more, and you do not suffer the monotonous fatigue that would give you -1 on every roll for the rest of the session.
Ooh.
Also,
That's really...
also for the record, Kitty is still holding one of your hands and is quietly licking it, almost absent-mindedly.
Like a dog, like a cat.
Yep.
And it actually seems to help. The pain goes away and the redness is, well, I wouldn't say the redness goes away. More, it's just replaced with Kitty's viscous saliva. The doors slide shut, and the elevator lurches as it rockets you up to the next destination. Paradigm, roll me a d4.
A 3.
3.
What's the pills? What's the pills roll again?
1d4 each.
Yep, healing straight up.
Bing! The elevator stops at floor 42, the mess hall. Security level 4 required. Reads the little screen as the doors slide open. The lights are off in the mess hall. It's evidently not been used in quite some time. And the first thing you register is the offensive odour of rotten meat and decay.
Someone's wasting food. Can't abide by that. Slurp. It's just not right. Slurp, slurp.
As you step out of the elevator into the darkness, how are you going to go about making sure that you can see?
Well, I'm glowing, so...
Yeah, so you're giving off a little dim light that allows everyone to see in the distance, the sharp-edged silhouettes of rows upon rows of tables and chairs, but not to make out the finer details.
I think everyone has dark vision at this point, too, or some variant of it. Yeah, I mean, I've got the cyber eyes. You can two of us have visors. Ghost can just, adjust the gamma.
Yep. And so, the ambient light grows stronger, and you're able to see. A fire of irritation is sparked in your nostrils as you step out onto the mess hall proper. A loud gurgling sound can be heard somewhere on the floor, reverberating off of the damaged and peeling white walls. The once normal and dull mess hall, where tired employees could grab some maggot coffee and stale muffin cake, is now a ransacked home, infested by whatever's making that strange gurgling noise from the direction of the kitchenette at the very, very back of the mess hall.
Yep. Tain't no way around it.
As you cross the mess hall, the horrific smell gets stronger and stronger, seeming to burn the tips of your nerves. You come by a table where a data pad has been left haphazardly on the edge of an overturned seat. The blue screen still turned on, filling the area around it with a pale electronic glow.
It's an audio log. We can hear somebody's last words.
Kitty reaches over, presses the button, and sure enough, a staticky voice begins to play. This is employee 098812. I'm leaving this message in the hopes that someone will find it. The being from the floors above has killed all of my friends. I have nothing left. It swallowed the manager and his keycard hole. My house is gone. My wife left me for my boss, and I've slept under my desk for the past 14 months. I'm making a break for it. When employee 01244556 hit it with a can of spray cleaner and lighter fluid, it flinched. Maybe that's the key. I'm gonna static.
Ah,
I get the feeling he didn't make it.
probably not. Well,
The gurgling sound from the kitchen begins to intensify.
well, says Kitty, pulling out the flare gun. Shall we go kill it with fire?
You approach the door to the kitchenette. The metal door is tightly shut, and standing right in front of it, you can hear on the other side the sound of something not of this world. How are you going to do this?
Well, Kitty's got a flare gun and they're taking point. I think
Yeah.
the answer is clear.
Well,
So-
somebody else can open the door and get out of the way.
Jonathan has a spare boot. He can kick it.
Yeah. So Jonathan unslings his gun, nods at Kitty, who readies the flare gun, and Jonathan rushes forwards, kicking open the door with a loud crash. Jonathan, you kicked open the door. Roll initiative.
That's a D6, right?
Yep, D6.
3.
3. You guys go first. The door bursts open, and
Nice,
there, pulsating, and throbbing, and ever shifting its form on the dirty, blood-soaked tiles of the kitchenette, is what appears to be a mass of living, pitch-black oil. If you were alive approximately 200 years ago and had a thing for cosmic horror fiction, you would describe it as a shoggoth.
Yeah.
It raises a faceless tentacle, suddenly alert to your presence. And Kitty, you're up.
You're a long way from home, servitor, she says, and takes the shot.
Go ahead, roll to hit it.
Well, with a 5, that misses.
You're not prepared for the recoil of the flare gun, and of course you are small, so you fire, and you're knocked straight on your ass as the flare sails into the kitchenette, hits the wall, and explodes, sending embers down onto the tiles. Jonathan, you're up.
Since we're in a kitchenette, I assume there's kitchen supplies around, right?
Sure is.
Are there any big industrial, like, oil containers or anything? Like cooking oil containers that you could just punch a hole in and spill everywhere?
You're lucky. There's a big yellow bottle of industrial strength true oil, trademark, sitting right next to a deep fryer, just behind the creature's mass.
Yeah, Jonathan's gonna rip that open and just dump it everywhere.
Yeah.
If there's going to be fire, there better be a lot of fire.
It is behind the creature, though, so you'll either have to get past it, or you could just put a bullet in the canister and let the oil pour all over the floor.
Actually, yeah, Jonathan just auto-fire on it, just to make sure there's
Yeah.
enough holes. One hole
Yeah.
might not do it fast enough.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, actually, I won't make you roll for that, because it is just a canister. So you're doing an auto-fire, and bang, 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 bang! You riddle the plastic bottle with bullets, and oil begins to spurt out, quickly pooling around the monster, mixing with its black mass, creating a puddle of viscous grey ooze. Paradigm, you're up next.
Cool.
Actually, do you reckon you could dump out the fuel from your chainsaw?
Yeah.
Probably good.
Yeah, with the oil, I don't know if we need that.
Yeah.
More fire. No, do it on.
Oh, fire! Burn the whole building down. Yeah. So
Okay.
has it like started? So I'm guessing, has it like started coding, or does it seem to be fairly well coded at the moment?
Oh, yeah, it started coding, but the thing's big enough that there is definitely a part of it that's pretty solidly coded by now.
I'm just thinking whether or not I want to try and lob a grenade and see if that'll set everything off.
Oh yeah, man. We got plenty of grenades.
Oil has
Throw
pretty
it.
low flash point.
Yeah, you know, hurl a grenade in.
Yeah.
That was
just- yeah,
absolutely started.
Yeah.
Fire in the hole! Whoop.
Hurl a grenade into the room. No need to roll, because there's only one thing in there. Go ahead, roll the damage.
36. I don't suppose this is a vehicle mech or turret.
It is not.
No.
It is just a drone from another world, but to you it may as well be a god.
It's just D6. That's a 2.
2. One of its tentacles is coated in enough oil by now that the explosion from the frag grenade sends a surge of flame up the tentacle. The Shoggoth roils in pain as it takes 4 points of damage. And it has no armor, so you singe the tentacle and the tentacle drops off, landing in a puddle of ooze and instantly bubbling away. And Ghost, you're up.
What's it looking like now?
One of its tentacles is burnt off, but it's still... This thing's big enough, it fills the entire kitchenette. It looks like... If it had a face, it would probably look annoyed, but it doesn't have a face.
Okay, I'm just thinking if there's anything like... Can you describe the kitchenette for me briefly?
There's a deep fryer on one side, and that's where the canister of oil's leaking down onto the floor. A row of ovens opposite, and in between, there's like a metallic rack filled with pots and pans and utensils.
Okay. Nah, nothing useful in here right now. We're doing the old, the lance technique, then.
Yeah. Go ahead. Presence technology to hit it.
Oh, you're kidding me. 5.
5. You form yourself into a lance, and how could you possibly miss something this big? And yet seems to shift its form on the fly as you hurtle towards it, reforming on the opposite side of the room as your lance slams into one of the ovens. And then it lurches back, a great toothy maw, a bloodied cavity opens in the middle of its mass, and it vomits black ooze through the doorway at all of you. I'd like everybody to roll defend for me.
Here we go.
That's agility plus acrobatics if I got it, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. Pick that up on level 1.
That is a 21 in total.
21
7.
in total. 7.
Ooh, lucky 7.
Lucky 7.
Yeah.
Paradigm
me
and
now.
Paradigm
Don't
and Ghost doesn't have to roll because Ghost's behind it, sticking out of the wall. But how'd you do, Paradigm?
I think I'm gonna have to use my last glitch because that was a 1.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh god.
You definitely don't want this.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my last glitch to at least negate the fumble, but it's still only a 6.
Still only a 6. Jonathan, on the ball as usual, throws himself behind the door frame as Kitty and Paradigm are absolutely coated in viscous black goo. And you each take 10 points of damage. And you may roll armor.
Alright. Alright.
Thank god I took that pill earlier.
Jinx. Alright, so I take 6 after the armor weighs in.
Yep.
Could be worse.
Cool.
And
if I-
Kitty. And how'd you do, Paradigm?
Oh yeah, I only take 4 after armor.
Yeah. Alright, Kitty, you're up.
Well, flare number 2. Because now the oil's had some
Load.
time to spread.
Yep.
After that, I'm going to go run behind a table to try and get some cover from the next wave of booze.
Yep.
So that's a 16.
16, that's a hit. Roll the damage, and the damage for the flare gun normally is 1d6 plus 2. But this thing's covered in oil, and it doesn't like fire.
Alright. 1d6 is 3, plus 2 is 5.
Triple it to 15, and it's already taken 4 points of damage. Thunk! The flare flies right into its toothy maw, which by this point is already drenched in oil. The thing slurps as the maw closes as if it's eating the flare, and then as Kitty grabs Paradigm and hurls herself away from the door, flame engulfs the thing. It turns into a fireball which surges through the kitchen and then lets out one last gurgle before exploding. And Ghost, you're still in the kitchen, so go ahead and make me an agility acrobatics check.
Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's 8.
8?
Would you like a glitch?
Yes, please.
Take a glitch. Now down to
I'm
1.
not getting that
Full
one. The
distance.
fucking digital die hit the wall and like stopped. I was like
Yeah.
diagonally.
Yeah, that's why I
There we
don't roll like
go.
that.
16.
16, nice. You reform from a lance to an ember of flame that quickly crisscrosses the oil-soaked floor and turn back into yourself right in the doorway. Look over your shoulder. The thing is gone. All that remains is a puddle of black ooze, a couple embers of flame, quickly being choked out by the smoke and the oil, and the security key card lying right there on the tiles.
End of combat, everybody heal.
Yeah, end of
And-
combat,
and roll-
everybody
check your
check for ammo and recover 1d4.
And if anyone can spare it, I wouldn't say no to a couple. If you can spare it, Jonathan, I wouldn't say no to a couple more pills.
Run it out. Good thing I gave those to you.
Aye.
Yeah, feel free to take some. I've got 3 left.
I'll take 2 more, if that's
Yeah,
alright with
take one.
everyone.
Yeah.
You good with 1? Alright, cool.
So that's all of them done?
I've still got medkits and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, that's all of them then.
Yeah. You make your way back across the darkened mess hall and limp into the elevator as Ghost wipes the black goo off the card by dragging it across the wall and swipes it. Beep beep! Maximum security level. Access to CEO's office granted. Reads the screen. This is it. The final floor. As the doors slide shut and the elevator lurches once again, so do your souls as the elevator carries you up to what is almost certain death. Are you ready?
Ah, Paradigm.
Huh?
Could I ask you to use your medkit on me while I whip us up some reinforcements? And Kitty dumps her backpack out and starts chucking meals on the scum birther.
How many meals you got?
4.
Yeah.
4. You throw 4 freeze-dried bags of rations into the scum birther and slam it shut. Takes
Oh
a little
no,
bit
these
of
are doggy bag specials.
doggy bag specials. It takes a bit of effort to fully close the thing with how much food is in it, but finally managed to slam it shut, and the silver briefcase trembles as the elevator carries you up, and then one by one, 4 little humanoid homunculi, each of them with the head and face of a cephalopod, climbs out from under the lid, whispering in an unknowable language.
I name ye the Snaily Poo brothers. Here, all of you have some of these spare grenades we found, and I hand each one a grenade.
They cradle the grenades with their stubby little arms as if they will cherish them for the rest of their short lives.
They're not wrong.
The elevator continues. You pass floor 50, floor 55, floor 59. You're nearly there. Any last-minute plans?
And I suppose you should probably have Jonathan use this first aid kit on you. He might be better with it than I am.
Could I ask you to do that, Jonathan?
You could ask him. Yeah, no,
Jonathan.
he'll help.
Jonathan, make me a knowledge medicine check.
His doodad is that he gets instant
Yes,
max
he does.
heal for
Max
items. So
healing. So that's 6 points of healing from a first aid
And
kit.
that puts me back up to full. Thank you.
Mm.
Arr.
for now.
And then I'll grapple to the ceiling just in case they hose the elevator down with bullets.
Good idea. Everyone else want to get clear of the doors?
If they what?
I mean, that's how
Yeah.
Jonathan enters any room. So
Yep. You press yourselves against the walls of the elevator as Kitty throws out her grappling hook, grapples up to the ceiling and clings from it like a glowing blue feline Spider-Man. And what are the 4 homunculi doing? What are their orders, Kitty?
Pretty much to hide for now, and on the command, go give the nearest person a hug and pull the pin. That isn't us.
The elevator stops with a thud, and the doors slide open, revealing the secretary's office that serves as an annex to the CEO's room. The receptionist's desk is empty, and the room smells of old vegetation and metal. As you step out of the elevator into the empty receptionist's room, you can hear a soft, low thud emanating from somewhere vaguely behind the desk. Thud. 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 Thud.
I'm still on the ceiling. I'll grapple over that way just to the point where I can peer over and get a look at it.
Yep. I will ask you to make me an agility acrobatics check.
Oh, I've got that one. So that's a 14.
Silently gesture for the others to wait and spring off the elevator ceiling onto the ceiling of the office, using your grappling hook to anchor you to it, scurrying across the drywall roof until you perch above the receptionist's desk like a spider. Directly below, you see the receptionist. She's cowering against the backside of the desk, her skin pale, her eyes glazed over, a blank look on her face as she hits her head over and over with her hypermagnetic stapler. Thud. Thud. Thud.
Everyone else gets a shot of this sent through the private network. Dink.
She's there. But do you think she's a threat?
We'll save the grenades for now. One of you lads want to try to talk to her or no? Or maybe you could chloroform her, Jonathan. I don't know.
So I'm actually fresh out of chloroform.
What fucking century is it?
Chloroform. You've probably
Yeah,
got
it was
something
like-
in your kit.
No, I definitely don't have chloroform answer.
Oh, that's
That
what
is
our ship's
stated
doctor had all
in-
the time. He hauled out this big bottle when we needed to knock somebody out, and then whoop.
Dated in city.
I mean,
Jonathan, Jonathan, you could probably just choke her out.
Could.
Or one of you could go and
Possibly.
talk to her. Your call. We've come too far to be stopped by a secretary, so it's up to you how you want to approach this, really. I'll
Yeah.
quietly have the Grenade Brothers file out and stand in the reception and be snailing at each other.
Stand at the ready. Yep.
Well, Jonathan's at least going to approach the secretary
Yeah.
cautiously, maybe not actually saying something.
So with your agility, I won't make you roll for stealth just to approach her. But as you step out and approach the desk, you hear the thump, thump, thump of her smacking herself in the head with the stapler. Her lips move and she whispers under her breath, "He's coming. Ah, he's coming, Glono. They said he would. This has all been written. Fungli Munglafa Cthulhu Aurelia Ragang Fatagan. In his house in Relia dead Cthulhu waits dreaming that's not dead which can eternally lie. And with strange eons even death may die." Thud. Thud. Thud.
Yeah. Jonathan can tell she's not doing well. He might not be rationalizing it as cosmic intervention, perhaps just a psychotic break. But they're in a hurry, so she's getting the butt of his gun.
Yep. Go ahead, roll me an agility stealth check to sneak up and smack her before she notices you.
17 on the die. So 21?
Yeah,
21.
definitely more than enough. Cthulhu Fatagan, Cthulhu Fatagan! Thunk! You smack her in the back of the head with the butt of your gun and she sinks forwards immediately like a sack of flour. Out for the count. Blood running down the side of her skull. Behind her, a thick, ornate wooden door is emblazoned with a gold nameplate. Alison Lear, CEO.
Well, I guess this is where we get off.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I don't suppose knocking will work.
At this point,
Right?
you might as well just open it up.
Yeah, no, Jonathan will just pull on the handle and slowly open the door with the barrel of his gun.
So, Jonathan, tell me, what are you expecting on the other side of this door?
Probably some CEO office style setup, tacky furniture, tacky paintings, probably well painted, well cleaned, a desk, a monitor of some kind, just the very standard fare.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
assume
probably
that's
what
not
it,
what will be there.
that's probably what it looked like a week ago. What you see as you open the door is, looks like you've stepped into the intestine of a large creature. The walls pulsate with a coating of flesh. The floor squelches as your boots sink into the soft tissue. And the CEO sits behind her desk, laughing and gibbering in an unknown, forever corrupting language. Doesn't look like she can see you. She doesn't appear to have eyes. Her entire head is gone, replaced with 40,000 tentacles writhing through the neck. of her expensive suit.
You know what? I'm thinking that's a good point to use the grenades, Anyone
Yeah.
disagree?
No, I don't disagree at all. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing for you want to do.
Kitty jumps down by the door, tells him to go give her a hug, and takes the pin out of each one. Doink, 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 as they go charging in.
Yep. They whisper. As they file one by one into the room, and as they charge towards what was once Mrs. Alison Lear, CEO of Allianson Corporation, what do you do? Do you take positions? Do you prepare to just sprint past her and throw the doors of the mainframe room open and scramble inside? Are you going to fight? Are you going to sneak? Are you going to talk?
I figure we can let the grenades go off, then get past her or kill whatever's left. That's me plan, really.
Yeah.
If anyone else has
who has
another
the thing
one,
at the moment?
Who's got the chip?
Yeah.
we've probably been passing it back and forth since
Yeah.
we've had time, so I'll roll
I
a
don't know if he
die.
does.
Yeah.
1 to 2, it's me. 3 to 4, it's Paradigm. 5 to 6, it's Jonathan.
Go
We've been
ahead.
sparing Ghost because we don't know what the fuck it'll do to her. 5 to 6, it's Jonathan.
Sure. Well, he's had enough of this. He's pretty keen to get it over and done with. I think his inclination would be to go to the server room as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Wait for the grenades to go off, charge through. Don't even
and
engage with the CEO.
She doesn't have eyes, so I'm not going to use a flashbang. I don't think that'd help.
Doesn't seem to have eyes.
Well,
It's-
I'll throw one. I'll throw one in and time it to go off when the other grenades go off. Anyway, it can't hurt.
It's just as the cephalopod homunculi parade into the room that Kitty, the anime girl, pops up on your RED. Time to pass it on! Time to pass it on!
Hey, Jonathan, you might want to pass it on, Kitty says and throws a flashbang, because Jonathan was the one who had it.
Yeah, Jonathan was the one who had it.
Trickster God missed a beat there.
He's acutely aware that it is time to pass it on. He hopes he never has to pass it on ever again. He will pass it on one more time.
Yeah.
Who's he giving it to?
But is he
Yeah,
going
Kitty
to
can
do
have
it? Is he going to try to do it quietly so as to not alert the CEO, or is he just going to thrust it on someone and run for it and hope this goes well?
I mean, if there's grenades going off, I don't know what the CEO is going to notice.
Yeah, fair enough.
Give it to me.
Yeah, Paradox can have it.
All right.
We're going, yeah, just storm past her, yeah.
Yep. As you storm past Jonathan, he reaches into his bag and
waiting
thrusts
for the
the
grenades,
chip
but yeah.
against your shoulder. You grab it, wrench it out of his hands as the homunculi gather around the gibbering CEO, raise their grenades and shout, "Fire the captain!" Bang!
And the flashbang goes over as well.
I would like Kitty to go ahead and roll the damage for all 4 of those grenades.
All right. Let's see if Allianson has the good stuff.
As a 5th bang goes off, as the flashbang fills the room with bright light and ringing.
You know, I'll call that good. That's 17 points.
17 points. Very nice.
Damn.
4d6.
The
former
CEO. The former CEO's tentacle-laden head is thrown back, and right there under the brim of her jacket, there's a gash in her neck. And it looks like someone's just taken a knife to her throat and slit it open. But no, as the flames from the grenade singe the tentacles, this gash opens, revealing teeth and a long purple tongue. This is her mouth, and it opens and screams. The scream doesn't sound like a scream. It sounds like static. White, pure white noise. In amongst the white noise, a dial tone. Mechanical interference that, if any of your characters were alive in the late 20th century, would immediately identify as dial-up internet sound.
And we're running.
And you're running as the torso of the CEO bursts open, and the 40,000 tentacles, each laden with ooze and pustules,
Yeah.
begin to flail around the room, trying blindly, desperately to catch you, to catch someone in the intense light of the flashbang grenade. So, I will ask each of you, depending on how you are... I'm going to ask, how are you getting across the room to the server? Are you running? Are you grappling across the roof? Are you crawling along the floor? I assume Ghost is just going to deconstruct her body, reform on the other side.
You know it.
So I'll ask Ghost to make a presence technology check.
Jonathan's going to be taking a run up and kind of like leaping across into like a safety roll towards the end.
Safety roll, yep. So I'll ask Jonathan to make me an agility athletics roll.
Sure. Think about how Leon jumps through windows.
Yeah, actually, for how Leon does it, for Leon Kennedy style, you can roll strength instead.
I got 18.
18.
That's just strength. What was there a
Strength athletics. If you got
athletics? Okay, that's just a 12 then.
It's a 12. Ugh. Paradigm?
Yeah, I was going to attempt to use my bent prism, and then hopefully being invisible will let me just sneak past her.
Oh yeah, go ahead, roll to activate your power, and then you won't have to roll to avoid the tentacles.
Oh yeah, that's an 18.
As the others charge ahead, Paradigm smiles, his body flickers and disappears. And Kitty?
Well, no help for it. Kitty is going to try to crawl through, banking on the fact she's small and the thing's blind.
Make
and
me...
The reason she's...
Yep.
The reason she's doing this is so that she can throw... Is that she can try and throw whoever gets caught a grappling hook to save them
good
from
idea,
certain death.
yeah. So, I would like
And
Kitty
I got a
to...
24.
24, nice!
Plus
So-
I'm small, so if that gets in anything, nice.
So, the flashbang reduces the DR by 4, reducing it from 18 to 14. You charge across the room as Ghost phases in from a collage of data right in front of the mainframe door as Paradigm's invisible hand grips the door handle and pushes it open as Kitty scurries along the floor underneath the tentacles, holding up her grappling hook as a lasso. Jonathan goes full Leon Kennedy. He probably even quips at the monster as he charges into the room, shoots at a couple of tentacles, blasting them out of the way, and then somersaults towards the door. He doesn't come out of the somersault. He gasps as a single tentacle wraps around him and begins to pull him towards the CEO's open, screaming, dialing up more.
And that's when I fire the grappling hook.
I would like Jonathan to make an agility acrobatics check
This is probably defensive, yeah.
at
I would say
DR
so.
at DR 16 to grab that grappling hook and pull yourself free.
In my mind, all I could see was the grappling hook just like sticking into Jonathan's shoulder or something. I prefer this. This is better. What did you say the DR was? Sorry.
16.
16.
I got a 12. 12 on the dice. And agility?
Plus agility, yep, so
Okay, then that is 16.
16. You just made it. Yeah.
The shoe goes flying.
The grappling hook digs into your left shoulder, cutting into you. You scream in pain as you grab hold of the cord and pull yourself free, just as the pustules on the viscous skin explode, dousing you in acid as you fall onto the floor. You did just pass it, so you're still going to take damage, but you're only going to take, instead of the certain death damage, you're going to take what's listed as the lesser damage. And that will be 26 points of damage as the pustules burst, raining acid over your body.
I could roll armor for that, right?
You can roll armor. Hopefully it'll save you.
Oh, thank God. That brings it down to 22 damage of my 23 health.
Ooh, you're on 1 HP.
Lucky
The acid
bastard.
eating through your doctor's robe, your skin beginning to boil, turn red and necrotize before your eyes. You scramble under the tentacles as Kitty yanks the grappling cord forward and pulls you to safety. You follow Paradigm into the server room door as Kitty whirls around and slams the door shut behind you just as a tentacle rears up and is about to barb your chest and cleave it in two. Thunk! The tentacle hits the door, leaving a wide dent on the other side. As Kitty grabs a server rack and drags it across the floor, blocking the door and letting you catch your breath. Jonathan lies on the ground, barely able to move, breathing as you are in the server room. This room is boiling hot, filled with bleeping hot machines with flashing lights. The electronics are ancient, with fraying wires spitting out from their casings. All around you, displays bombard you with a constant feed of eldritch symbols that would rend your mind to pieces if you could understand what they were saying. There's only one device in the room that seems to be designed to be interfaced with. A little slot, just about the right size for Vera Coiling's chip.
Jonathan, you might want to first aid yourself quick while Ghost does the thing.
I still have that neuroadrenaline from the other session.
Yeah,
Was that a full heal?
That's a full heal.
Now's a good time for it.
Normally, Jonathan would not be caught dead injecting a random substance that he found in like an old arcade. But this is dire, so dire that he stubs it into his his thigh.
You stab the adrenaline into your thigh, and instantly your heart begins to speed up. Thump, 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 thump.
Oh, I thought that dark young of Shab Bleep Aroth almost got you, matey. Good job.
Jonathan, roll me a toughness DR14 check to see whether your heart just goes pop.
That is actually a 14.
14.
Plus 2 toughness.
There's a terrible, tight pain in your chest. Somehow you're okay. You're able to stand, and your heart is beating at least 3 times faster than it should be.
Jesus, this session I've been like scraping the bar.
Okay, we need to slot the chip by.
Who's gonna slot it in?
I mean, I've still got it, so I'll just walk up and chip.
Paradigm. As you slot the chip into the computer, go ahead and make me a presence. Just a straight presence check at DR16.
For the record, it's been good serving with y'all. If I go stupid, take care of my body, yeah? Get it back to the dock, you'll have fun with it.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
What?
Great presents. That is exactly 16.
Exactly 16.
God's sake.
As you slam the chip into the slot, its casing explodes.
Yep, there it is.
Blue crystalline growths immediately surge out, expanding like a miniature Big Bang. Within seconds, the crystalline growths are large enough that they encase the entire mainframe, and they would have encased you too, had you not, through sheer force of willpower, matched wits with them. Had the nanos within your own body not beckoned them away. But you still take 18 points of damage.
Is that armor count or?
And roll armor. You're blown backwards, landing with a thump in front of the rest of the crew. A huge gaping hole in your chest.
It was 18, you said?
18, yep.
Cool, so I get a 5 on the armor, reducing it to 13, which leaves me also at 1.
1.
Good lord.
A torrent of blue nanobots begin to flood out of your open chest cavity, scattering, rejoining their brethren inside the chip. Your navel mouth smiles one last time before it merges into your skin, and your nanomancer powers disappear.
What?
The same's happening for everyone else who has nanos in them. That would be, I think, the only one who's managed to avoid being nano-infected throughout this campaign is Jonathan. So, Jonathan,
Yep, sure has.
you're fine. I would like Ghost and I would like Kitty to make me straight presence checks. DR 14, as you did not directly
Alright.
plug the chip in.
Does science count here?
Yeah, science will count if
Okay.
you've got it.
Alright.
Just present.
Presence, and if you've got science, you can add science.
New technology, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it won't help here, but that will
That's
help
11
soon.
then.
11.
Well, with a 10, I fail.
10, you fail. So, Kitty, what were the 4 possibilities again?
One was that I was correct and that I am Kitty Bang Bang from an alternate dimension, transported into a robot body to retrieve the reality shards. 2 was that I was just a stupid animatronic that got animated by crystals that have some sentience to them. 3 was that I was an elder being who stumbled upon the Kitty Bang Bang programming and said, "Oh yeah, this will work. This is what I am." And 4 was something weird.
Turns out, it's number 4. The blue crystals that gave life to the animatronic rejoin their brethren. Captain Kitty Bang Bang's lifeless, metallic body falls forwards to the floor with a clang.
Thump.
And Ghost,
Oh god.
as your consciousness merges with the god of the wired, what thoughts do you desperately hold on to?
Shit, man, I don't know.
Do you wish you spent that last glitch you had?
I do wish I spent that last glitch I had. I think that's what my character would think.
Yeah. Perfectly meta, because, Ghost knows none of this is real. I wish I spent that last glitch. As she simply disappears, fades away, and the blue crystalline growths expand outwards, filling the room where they once were. And the gate closes. The end. The news feeds the next day are abuzz with barely accurate accounts of what happened at the top floor of the Allianson building. The Set Corps have managed finally to calm the last vestiges of chaos, corralling the remaining rioters into outdoor prison camps, executing the blood-crazed, zombie-like drones of the elder gods in the streets. There's a soundbite going about the web. It's almost a meme. A random grab taken from one of the Allianson employees that managed to escape from the building just before it was engulfed in light, before it turned into a 66-floor high pillar of vibrant blue crystal and shattered. The new CEO's a fucking octopus god from another universe inhabiting the dead body of the old CEO, and we're supposed to be okay with that? Allianson stocks fall 10 percentiles on Psy's international trading market. 24 hours later, they're back where they used to be. The city's press is in favour of the new ownership, and as per usual, things are likely to continue as they are. The simulation returns to a state of normalcy, and life for the citizens of Psy continues. With the citizens of Psy being totally unaware of just how close to the end it all came. There's one thing, maybe two things, that are different. A new phrase, a new catchphrase sweeps the city by storm. No one can trace its origin. If it was from a TV show or a movie or a meme or a book, nobody knows. But suddenly, it's the cool thing to say, damn, I wish I used that last glitch. Usually, in a voice of exasperation when something has gone wrong, when some minor inconvenience has ruined your day. Damn, I wish I'd use that last glitch. And the other? What influence does Captain Kitty have on this world as one of the new gods of Psy?
The influence she has is a tendency for... You wouldn't know it, you wouldn't see it, but for every now and then, here or there, when somebody gets the urge to do a friend dirty, they stop. And they back off. And they decide, nah, you gotta look after your own, because nobody else will.
The new gods aren't quite the same as the old ones. A sense of mischief, a seemingly very suddenly expressed love for memes involving little anime girls, and a city that's ever so slightly friendlier, ever so slightly driven by the power of friendship. Paradigm. Jonathan. Debts wiped clean. The collective, before they disappear out of your lives. Deposit enough money into your accounts that for the first time, in perhaps your entire existence, you're able to live without having to put your life on the line. It's not much. Maybe it's enough to rent a room in a coffin motel for a couple months, but your meals are paid for, and for some time at least. You can focus on what's important to you. And Paradigm, what's important to you?
I don't know, seeing as one of my first thoughts was he's probably started drinking heavily after losing all of his, like, abilities and stuff. He's like, oh god, I'm human now.
Yeah. But along with humanity comes something else. Connection.
Yeah.
No longer are you something other. No longer are you the residue left behind by a visitor from another dimension. You're human again. And you can return to how it was before Ground Zero. Jonathan, what does the rest of your life look like?
Jonathan wanted to always just be a regular ass doctor, somebody who looked after people and somebody who made a difference in the community. But the way the world was, he ended up having to sell out to the corpos and got screwed over by them. So he makes his own clinic, but one that's open to anyone, not just those who are wealthy.
A doctate of his own, without the corporate baggage. Admirable. You've earned my respect. I henceforth take away your title of punk. And I call you... What do I call you? I was used to calling you punks. Let's call you cogs. Cogs in the machine. Because the machine never ends. You thought this would end it? You thought this would stop Psy, the greatest city in the world, from continuing on as it always has? If you did, you were wrong. And that concludes our Cyborg New Gods campaign. This has been a DM Fiat actual play podcast using the Cyborg OSR rules, featuring Ash as Ghost, Alt as Jonathan, Demiurge as Cap and Kitty, and Paradox Mimic as Paradigm.